Welcome to the BPD Bunch Brunch, where we get together with our favorite brunchy beverages to catch up, play games, and talk about all things BPD. I'm your host, Xannie, and today I am here with Jack, André, and Jay. Where in the world is everyone coming from, and what's your brunchy beverage for the day?
Atlanta, Georgia, United States. My beverage is a nice wine.
I'm in Southampton, Hampshire, United Kingdom, and of course I'm drinking a nice cup of British breakfast tea, Yorkshire tea to be precise. This is not an advertisement.
I'm calling from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and I'm also drinking English breakfast tea, but Twinings.
I'm coming from New Mexico in the United States, and I just have coffee. So every season we play a game of BPD Bingo, and this season is no different. If this or other BPD games and topics interest you, please make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you do not miss a single episode. Today's bingo board is brought to you by our community on Instagram. We asked for submissions and they did not disappoint. So the way the game works is I will draw the tiles out of this little bucket here, and then if you relate or have experienced the whatever is on the tile, you check it off, and once you get 5 in a row, you win BPD Bingo. One of the things that I do want to make sure I make clear is that this is not a diagnostic tool. You can't look at like a social media bingo board and be like, oh, I have BPD. This is really just a way for us to facilitate telling relatable stories and having a conversation about what it's like to live with BPD. So if you do think that you relate to this, definitely go talk to a professional to get assessed. Do not use this as a diagnostic tool. Without further ado, let us go ahead and get the game started. So the first bingo tile. Oh, we're starting with a great one. Self-harm.
Oh, self-harm.
Yep. I got that one.
Me too.
Me too.
Unfortunately, there's not very many stories we can tell about this because we don't want to get demonetized, and also, like, we don't want to trigger anybody. Like, nobody needs that. So we'll just say, hooray. All of us got that one.
All right.
Bingo!
Hooray.
Not hooray. I don't know.
Jay, just shake. Just shake, Xannie.
Just shake. All right.
You just shake. Just bow out and shake on this one.
Shake
There's not much to say about that, so we all got that one. We'll just move on. What am I doing?
I don't think we've ever done that.
I have.
I don't know if I've thought like those words specifically, but it's kind of like in the middle of an activity, and then I would just suddenly feel like I was just waking up into whatever I was doing, kind of, and being like,
Oh, yeah.
wait, what is this? Why am I doing this activity? Like, not that I didn't have memory of starting it, but kind of just like becoming more aware of the moment and wondering, like, why did I make the decision to be doing this today?
Never mind. I've had many of those in my life, and
For me, I think that I've ended up in a myriad of different situations where I've ended up with groups of people who I wouldn't ordinarily be in the social circle with, constantly just trying to find a way to fit in, and then halfway through, I would think, what am I doing here? Is this really for me? And that goes for everything. And even as an adult, I still sometimes have been in a situation where I've been even at a party and I'm like, why am I even here?
Jay, no further thoughts? You're very quiet. You were just like, yep, I did this, and then you moved on.
Yeah, I feel like for me, this thought comes up in a bit of a different way. Like, I've had that thought a lot whenever I'm like acting impulsively or in crisis mode. Actually, it's a way of like centering myself and bringing myself back, and it comes up quite often. Like sexual impulsivity is a problem for me as a self-injury thing. I'll have many moments where like I will be with a guy that I'm not even that interested in at all, that I'm not really that attracted to, and then my brain will be like, why am I here? Like, whoa, why did I do this? Like, I'm in my prime. I'm not the ugliest person on the planet. Why am I here? And I thank my brain kindly for those moments of realization.
Jack,
Jack.
Jack, can you relate to this? It looks like you can relate to this.
Stop it! Don't look at me! Don't look at me!
Next one. Are we next one?
Please.
Yeah,
Yes, next
move
one,
on.
please. Please.
Jack, this is your conscience speaking.
Shut up, Andre.
Okay, dissociation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, got that one.
Yep. I think that was actually one of the symptoms that's taken me the longest to manage, because it wasn't one of the things that I could just think myself out of in the same way that I could do some of the other things. And one of the things that really helped me, and take this with a grain of salt, because, not everyone's gut can handle this, but my husband's really into very, very, very spicy food. And we have a collection of like the world's hottest hot sauces. And so that's actually been one of the most helpful things for coming back to my body when I'm dissociating, is to take like a little spoonful of the hottest hot sauce. And yeah, it's hard to not be in your body when your mouth is on fire.
I have a hard time talking about dissociation because I feel like it's the thing that I understand the least and can identify the least in myself. I guess that's partly the point, right? Is that it's very hard to detect in yourself because you're out of yourself. The only times that I have been able to like register it after a while is like if I've gone through something that's been particularly difficult emotionally. It's almost like my mind tries to like protect me from that by taking me out of myself. And the only way that I've been able to like come back is I will go and take really cold showers and try to physically change something in my body, or some kind of give myself some kind of sensory experience that will make me more present. But truthfully, like, I find it very difficult. I find it very difficult to identify when it's happening, and therefore very difficult to address it.
Yeah, I'm with Jay. It's kind of hard for me to identify it. The only way I know I'm really have dissociated is when I start realizing just how much time I lost. I'm getting better, but I don't realize it till after I'm out, and I realize I just spent a whole day and I have no idea what I did.
I'm going to come from the camp of I still haven't got a bloody clue, mate. Because I honestly, unless someone around me is trained enough or insightful enough, I still think that I find it hard to tell now. I know there's times like we spoke about losing time, and I know that I've done that. 1 minute it's, especially in the UK, 1 minute it's light, next minute it's dark, and I always like have that same feeling. When did that happen? We're technically all in what you call functional recovery, and I'm still like, don't have a clue, mate. Honestly, I'm not really sure.
Yeah. There are definitely some symptoms that take longer to resolve, and I think dissociation and probably chronic emptiness are some of those.
Also, I think that dissociation is a lot harder to identify looking at somebody. It's hard to tell if somebody's actually dissociating.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm raging at someone, they're going to be like, this is the problem we need to solve. But if I'm just silently sitting there doing nothing, they're probably not going to be like, oh, this is the thing that we need to fix, right? So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, the next one. I don't want to let go of the pain because I will have nothing left.
A lot of creative people deal with mental illnesses and mental struggles, and they use that to push themselves, to push the art and the craft. And a lot of them don't want to let it go because without it, they feel like they have nothing. I'm a writer. I feel like sometimes I can't let go of this trauma because it's what's pushing my art to go even further than what it was before. Like that hurt you get so used to that hurt, it becomes so comfortable, you don't want to let it go. Sometimes that hurt feels good. It's weird.
Well, it's the thing it's the thing that's familiar, right? I mean, like, I think at the time, if you had asked me if I was afraid of letting it go, I'd have said no. But I think definitely as a part of the process, I realized that I was more afraid of what I didn't know than what I did know, and the pain was something that was familiar to me. And I think I was definitely afraid of what I didn't know, because I just didn't know what it would look like, and that was really scary.
For me, I think I went to a point where I almost felt like I deserved to be punished by the pain, but it's been so long ago, I think, since I've let go of that it's hard for me now to reconcile that version of me with the version of myself even over the last 10, 15 years.
This is not something that I relate to, actually. When I got diagnosed, my very first response to the psychiatrist was, okay, what do I do about it now? Like, I wanted to let it go quick. I don't know why that is. I don't know. I guess I'm fortunate in that sense, but I don't relate to this one very much.
All right. I'll be alone for the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so lonely.
Is that more because of the state of the gay community, or is it because of BPD? I don't know.
It's just in general. It's just in general. Like, am I gonna be alone by myself because I'm me and I'm BPD, or is it because just everybody around me is a horrible person that I would be miserable with?
You know, it's funny because I think I've felt this in the very no, everyone's gonna abandon me kind of way. But I've also felt this when my girlfriend and I finally were done when I think it was 21. I thought I was gonna be alone for the rest of my life because I was just never gonna feel like that about anybody else ever.
And then you met your husband.
Yeah, and then I met my husband. So, thankfully I was wrong.
I think I really felt this feeling actually in my most recent relationship and dating situation. My traits, my symptoms, whatever language you want to use to describe it, they come out with a vengeance when I'm in a relationship, and they don't in almost any other context. And after this last relationship, I sort of just started thinking am I ever going to be able to be in a relationship? Am I just going to be alone for the rest of my life because I can't deal with it? Because I've felt for such a while that I'm doing really well in recovery and everything's working out real well, and then this happens and actually no, it feels like I've gone back to square one. So it's pretty terrifying thought.
As Jay suggested, my only real problems tend to be with very close interpersonal relationships, and I struggle because it's intense. Because I'm thinking, do I want a daddy, or do I want a mummy, or do I want a partner in crime?
Can I ask you a question? I did not understand the mommy daddy partner in crime thing. What does that mean?
So I think a lot of people might look for a father figure, daddy.
Okay.
Yeah. So the daddy or Jay will understand. Sometimes you just need a daddy, someone.
Sometimes.
That's why I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if that was that kind of a reference.
Well, so we've all got fluid needs at times, so I'm just saying. So the way that I've looked at relationships are, I've looked for someone that I've wanted to be almost a surrogate parent, or I've been trying to be their surrogate parent, or then I'm thinking I want someone actually who's an equal, who's a partner in crime. But that shifts quite dynamically. You get to a point of thinking, actually, no, I want the other thing. But as Jay said, to be on a serious note, I only really experience problems when it comes to very close relationships. The average person, strangers, I'm out there, not a problem at all. But I think sometimes it's easy to look at other people, especially in relationships, and think, why can't I have that? And not take into account that they probably worked really hard to overcome a lot of those issues, but we've just been kind of bouncing along.
This emotional pain is gonna kill me.
Yes.
I 100% thought this. I thought there was no way anybody could survive feeling that level of awful, and that I was just gonna that my heart was gonna have to explode at some point. And then when it didn't, that was when I started taking matters into my own hands. But I did not. I was like, how do people? There's no way people live with this. What? No.
Honestly, I feel like
I'm gonna die.
Honestly, I feel like the opposite is when I'm feeling the worst is when I know I'm gonna live the longest and constantly just feel like this. I'm gonna outlive everybody I know and be alone and just feel miserable the rest of my life, and just be the last man on earth suffering, feeling this pain.
In the run up to getting my diagnosis, I had a really extended crisis period, and I often thought, I cannot see myself getting to 25 if this continued. It's I just can't cope with this level of intense, hell every single day. On a more literal level, I feel like I did genuinely have moments where the amount of, because I have very sensorial, physical, visceral responses to my emotions. So when I was feeling really low, my brain, honestly, my head felt so much pressure, so heavy. I thought, honestly, I would end up with, something would happen. I thought my brain would end up just bleeding out if it continued. So I actually genuinely felt this very physically as well. That was super intense for me. Just on a little note, we have surpassed 25. We have survived 25.
Woohoo!
I feel the same way. I'm not gonna survive with 25. I'm not gonna see 30, and here I'm at 32. Woo! About to be 33.
Tell the people I'm here to testify. All right. Okay. So I generally think that my ability to have happiness and my inner child is what's actually helped me to overcome those deep feelings of angst, because I get to the point where it's a crippling, it's a physically hurting sensation when I went through this, and I genuinely did not think that I was going to get through it. But the fact that I'm still here today and I've reached a bountiful and beautiful age is the proof is in the pudding.
Shake that uplifting note. Identity crisis.
Throughout my life, I've had a constantly shifting sense of identity. I've had the identity crisis from religion, no religion, sexuality, what do I really prefer? Do I want to be the hero or the villain? It's almost literally just constantly. The hardest thing for me has been to try and find a stabilized core version of myself, but then also I think it's been good to realize that I can kind of bounce into the different things and not see it as a problem, because when I saw it as a problem, that's when it was a problem, because I thought I had to be just one version of myself.
I struggle with identity crisis a lot, especially growing up. I moved around a lot, so I constantly had to change who I am in order to try to fit in and be accepted. It does splinter you a little bit, so it causes you to lose yourself after a while, especially around your favorite person. Oh my goodness, you become a whole new person, and that identity is so strong because you want it to work. You want this identity to stay so this person, your favorite person, can like you.
This is one that I actually just don't really identify with very much. I'm sure that there are parts of my identity that I have had crises or struggled with, but how I would differentiate that from normal, growing up and trying to figure out who you are versus this, I really can't say. I didn't struggle with the fact that I was gay, for example. I came out when I was 11 years old. And I've always had a kind of strong sense of the type of values that I hold. They haven't really changed extensively over the years. So I feel like this is not one that I identify with, which is kind of shocking, to be honest, because it's one that I feel like pretty much everyone that I know with BPD experiences.
It was almost like I didn't want to become a solid person, because then I would lose the infinite possibilities of what I could become. I resisted making a lot of decisions in my life, because then it's a real thing, then it's a solid thing, and then it can be picked apart by other people. And if you don't have an identity, if you're just totally malleable based on the situation you're in, then, you know, they can pick apart the person you were yesterday. It doesn't matter. I'm not that person anymore. In a way, though, I'm grateful for that, because I kind of feel like I got to decide very intentionally the person that I wanted to become. When people say certain things about me, like you are X, Y, or Z, it's very rarely a surprise, because I sort of put myself together like a Lego person. You know, I decided what all of those different pieces were going to be, even though it was incredibly painful to get here. I'm kind of grateful for that, because it's harder for people to throw me off course, because like people don't really say things that about me where I'm like caught off guard. All right. What is the next one? 1-1.
Everyone hates me. Yeah, I felt that before.
Yep.
Felt that a lot.
No.
Still do.
Yeah, to this day. To this day.
That is my one defining thing that I've still found it hard to get rid of. I've worked on it. I've come to terms with it, and then I've gone back down the rabbit hole again. And it's one of the most common things in my life where I think I didn't get invited to that party before such and such, so obviously they didn't really want me there. I heard my neighbour laughing over the fence, and I thought I heard him say my name. Do you know what I mean? It ranges. But it's or even the fact that people are just sick of me talking about my stuff. Yeah, or if I invite people to a party and they don't turn up, if more than 2 people say I can't make it, it's almost like it's a conspiracy. They don't really like me.
Did anybody get bingo, by the way?
Oh, yes. Because the middle one is free, right? Yes, bingo.
So Jay got it.
So Jay's got bingo.
I'm the most wrecked. Woohoo!
I got it too, so congratulations, Jay, we're the most messy. So, okay, so for this one, everyone hates me. I mean, I don't know. What you just said, Andre, about like if you only have a couple people show up to a party.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that is one of the worst feelings. I'll still have fun, but there's a part of me in the back of my mind that's like, what did I do wrong? Why do all these people not like me?
I do a lot of paranoia, and so if somebody just looked at me the wrong way, I think I've hate they hate me. They must hate me. I must have did something to offend them. If somebody says me, who usually sends me a long text that sends me a simple "Hey," oh, I pissed them off. I've disrespected the entire family. If just anything can set me off to make me think everybody hates me, it's one of the most tiring things to experience.
Sometimes this is like a narrative that we perpetuate for ourselves at times, that, you know, like people hate us or we read into things. Sometimes I definitely have done that. At the same time, I also want to flip the coin a little bit and say sometimes people aren't nice, and it's not always here, right? Hate is a very strong word. Maybe that's where sometimes we bring it overboard. Sometimes it's much simpler than that, but sometimes people do mistreat, and sometimes it's subtle, and sometimes that's the worst way to be unpleasant towards somebody else, because it's easy for the other person to then say that you're the crazy one if you see anything there. But sometimes they're doing it and they know they're doing it, you know? So I just wanted to throw that out there as a little bit of validation of the feeling at the same time, because I feel like this is something that I experience a lot.
Well, I think a lot of these thoughts that we have, it's not that there's no truth to them whatsoever, but like you said, I think hate is a strong word. A lot of the times, like what I would perceive as people not liking me or hating me, maybe I think a lot of the times they're just not thinking of me, period. So it's not an active dislike. It's more just they're not considering me. Depending on your outlook on life, that might not be better to you. But to me, I do think that like when I shift it and I think, oh, they're, that was a not nice thing to say. They're probably not considering how this would affect me. And, then I just decide in the long run whether or not, is that somebody who's just having an off day and they're just not thinking about me, or is this a chronic thing? And then I reevaluate how much time I want to spend with that person, because I think some amount of that is acceptable. We all have bad days and we're not really focusing on other people around us. Like, that was me for 15 years of my life. But I think it's important for all of our relationships that we're able to, at least for the most part, look outside ourselves and consider how what we do and say affects the people around us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations again, Jay, for winning the BPD Bingo. We hope that you, our audience, enjoyed this episode. If you play along, we have the bingo board on our Instagram and on our YouTube community page. If you decide to play along, please post it on your social and tag us. We love to see everybody's bingo board. It brings us closer together in a we've all been there kind of way. So thank you so much for watching. We hope you got a nugget of joy to take with you on your journey, and we will see you next time.